Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Marie and I make clothes. Hope you're all doing well. So for today's video, I will be showing you how I made my blue gather dress that I wore on my first video. If you have not watched that yet, you should, since I showed there clothes that I made using 7 free sewing patterns. So you could get inspo for your next makes. Before we proceed, I just want to say I really appreciate my family and friends for supporting me with this channel. Thank you so much, mga persons. So going back to the dress, I used the simple mini gather dress pattern from Angelica May on TikTok. And of course, it's free as of the moment, so make sure you download it. I linked it down below. So my size on this is 4, but the available size on the pattern goes up to 10. I did some alterations on the pattern to make it beginner friendly. Speaking of beginner friendly, my next video was supposed to be the Noah linen shirt, but I decided while editing the video that it's more of for an intermediate level. So I will postpone that for now and maybe upload it in the coming months. So for the dress, I did lower the neckline by 1 inch from the pattern, and I did a faux smocking instead of a zipper. So let me flip that. So I did a faux smocking at the back, but I used garter for this. I added pockets, so it has pockets on the side because every dress should have one. And I did a tie strap. I also did the French seam method to finish the seams because I like having clean seams for my makes. And I feel like those details on the dress is what has been trending right now, and I'm happy to incorporate those details. So this dress can be worn for formal events, or if you use a different fabric, you can match it to any occasion. So by the way, this channel will be mainly about me making clothes using free patterns and fabric from the thrift store. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, like the video so you can easily find it in your playlist if you want to create, and comment down any patterns you want me to make. With that being said, let's start. Pattern and alterations. If this is your first time using or downloading a pattern, I have linked a tutorial on the description for your reference. Make sure to watch that first since it will show you how to print and assemble the pattern properly. Let's start with the top back piece. I will be making changes on the top back piece to accommodate for the faux smocking. I will also reduce the height of the back piece. Draw a straight line from the top of the side seam across the back, then cut. This will be the new height for the back piece. I measured the bottom part of the back for my size, that is around 21 centimeter. Grab an extra paper, then trace the back piece. I then added 21 centimeter, which was the measurement of the bottom part earlier. I then add the back piece at the end. Next, I will mark 1 centimeter lines on the pattern so that I can count how many garter pieces I will need. As you can see, I put an X on every other 1 cm that indicates the rows for the garter. In my case, I have 7 rows for the garter. Remember that the top and the bottom part should be for the seam allowance. On this part, I forgot to mark for the straps. See the arrow to where it should be. Cut 2 pieces for the top, back, 1 main, and 1 lining. Now let's proceed to the top front. The only change I did to the top front was deducting 1 inch from the top to lower the neckline. You can skip this if you want to have a higher neckline. In the video, you can see I also draw 1 inch above the dart. Don't follow that. Learn from my mistake and just reduce it from the top part of the front piece. Cut two pieces, unfold, one main and one lining. Skirt back. I just added the same width I added on the top back piece, which was 11 centimeter when folded. After adding the width, cut one piece, unfold. Skirt front. No changes. I just cut one piece, unfold. By the way, you have an option to not print the skirt pattern and instead just measure the top front piece width, then multiply by 2 since it's unfold. Then multiply again by 1.5 for the gathers. Example for me, 18 centimeter times 2 equals 36 times 1.5 equals 54 centimeter. 54 should be the width of the front skirt. And for the back skirt piece, just measure the top back width and that should be the skirt width as well. Example for me around 63 centimeter. Before we start sewing, let's review the pattern pieces. You should have two-piece top front cut unfold, two-piece top back, one-piece skirt front cut unfold, one-piece skirt back cut unfold, four-piece for the straps or the ties. Mine is 62 by 4 centimeter. Four-piece pockets, optional. I will link a free pockets pattern below. I actually used the pattern from the cash shorts that I made on my previous video. So if you already have that, you can use that as well. Seven-piece elastic. Elastic length will be the width of the original back piece multiplied by 2 since it's unfold. In my case, that is 21 times 2 equals 42 centimeters. With all that complete, let's start sewing. I will make the straps or ties first. Fold and sew 1 cm from the edge. Tip, close one end of the strap since we will use a loop turner or the end of the pen to turn the straps over. Trim half of the seam allowance, leaving about 5 millimeter. I will first show you how to turn this right side out using a loop turner. Not start from the end, instead start 1 centimeter below the stitched edge. Just wiggle it a bit so that the stitch end goes inside. Once you get it started, go slow and first secure that the stitch end comes out of the other end. When it's out, it should be easy to pull out the rest. Now we have a strap that is neat on one end. But if you don't have a loop turner, you can also use the dull end of a pen as I'm showing here. Once done with the 4 straps, let's move on to the top front. Pin the darts following the marking that you transferred from the pattern. Tip, I sometimes iron the darts before sewing. I also put a pin at the end so I know where to stop when stitching. Sew from the side seam down. At the end, don't backstitch. Instead, loop the loose ends twice. After sewing the darts, iron the darts flat. Then with right side up, Pin the straps. Make sure you are not pinning the neat side of the straps because that should be outside. Like pinning down the end of the straps as well to make sure I don't accidentally stitch it. After pinning the straps, put the other front piece on top with the right sides together, then pin. Then sew the pinned top part. Make slices on the curved part. Make sure not to clip the stitched part. This will help the top fit better. Then turn right side up. This should be a good time to iron the front top, pressing the seam allowance to the wrong side. Then you can top stitch the seam allowance to the wrong side of the top so it does not roll over and for a neater look. Sew as close as possible to the edge on the wrong side. Now for the top back piece. I actually made a mistake here and I was not able to insert the straps before sewing the top part. So make sure that you insert the strap just like what we did on the top front earlier. Strap should be 16 centimeter from the side seam. Again, don't forget to sandwich the strap between the top back piece, then pin. Sew the pinned top part only. Turn right side out, then iron. Pressing the side seam to the wrong side, then top stitch. As you can see, I created panels that will be used to insert the elastic. Draw horizontal lines 1 cm apart as a guide. I will be using 1 cm elastic. That is why we are creating 1 cm panels. There should be 14 panels. I will insert the elastic in between the panels, so that is 7 in total. At first, I'm using the loop turner, but it's easier if you use a safety pin instead. Make sure to pin both ends after inserting the elastic. I'm showing you a clip here of me using the safety pin. I always make sure to pin the other end of the elastic because it happened to me a few times that I had to reinsert the elastic because the other end got dragged inside the panel as well. If this happened to you as well, then that makes two of us. Just take your time on this part and go slow. I promise it will be worth it in the end. After inserting the elastic, adjust the elastic. You can move all the gathers in the middle for now so that the next step will be easier. Sew the left and the right ends, making sure that you're catching the elastic. I used 1 cm seam allowance. We now have our top, front, and back ready. Let's proceed with attaching the front and the back pieces together. So with right sides together, sandwich the back between the front piece. Pin, then sew with 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Make sure to increase the seam allowance so that the initial stitch will not be showing. I'm just showing here that I did a zigzag stitch as well after stitching the top pieces together, just to seal the raw edge. This will not be showing, but I just like knowing that my raw edge is neat. Turn right side out, and now is the time to feel proud that we have completed the top part. Well, not for me, because I forgot to attach the strap earlier. And why am I adding this clip, you might ask? Is this to confuse you with the steps? No. I just want to show you that I made this dress twice already and I still made a mistake, and that's okay. Don't stress it. There is always a workaround for anything. So here I am showing you my workaround. This applies to life as well. If something does not work out, let it be, and there is still other options. Just enjoy it and always choose to be happy. After all, it's just a hobby, and after all, it's your life. Now that I'm sure that I'm done with the top part, let's set it aside to work on the skirt part. I will start with the pockets. Draw a line 1.5 centimeter from the edge and 1.5 centimeter from both ends of the line. This will be the guide. Grab the skirt front piece, mark 15 centimeter from the top. This is where the pocket will start. Place the pocket on the front piece with right sides together alongside the side seam. Pin and sew the pocket to the skirt using the marking that we did earlier as a guide. Trim the seam allowance, leaving about 3 mm. Clip in the corner up to the stitches. Be careful not to clip through the stitches. Turn the pocket to the wrong side, then pin. On this part, I like to iron it first. On the right side, edge stitch 5 mm on the pocket opening only. Once done, put the other pocket behind the stitch pocket with the wrong side together. Pin along the outer edge. Sew the outer edge of the pocket with 5 mm seam allowance. Turn the pocket inside out, pin again the outer edge, then stitch the pocket again, this time with 1 centimeter seam allowance. This will encase the raw edge and create a French seam. Attaching the skirt front and back together. Face the skirt front and back piece wrong side together along the side seam and pin in place. Stitch the side seam with 5 mm seam allowance. You can trim any excess on the side. Iron the side seam open. Do what I say, not what I do, because on this part I got lazy and just pinned the right sides together, then stitched with 1 cm seam allowance this time. When sewing the seam, make sure not to sew the pocket opening. You will be able to feel the pocket opening between the layers. Now you will be able to see the neat French seam. Repeat all those steps on the other side of the skirt. Now that we have attached the skirt piece together, let's proceed to gather the skirt. Sew 2 rows of straight stitch on the top part of the skirt. Use the longest stitch on your machine. Mine is 4. I also use a contrasting thread for the gather so that it's easier to remove later. Do not backstitch. Tie the bottom threads together, then pull on the top threads to create gathers. Do this until the skirt is the same length as the top. Make sure that the side seam of the top matches the side seam of the skirt. Once the skirt matches the width of the top, sew the top to the skirt. Remember to stretch the top back while sewing the skirt since the top back is elasticated. Here I'm showing you that I already attached the top and skirt together using a straight stitch. I also did a zigzag stitch on the raw edge, but after that I used a bias tape as well to finish the edge. Don't forget to remove the thread that we used to gather the skirt. Now that we are done with attaching the top to the skirt, we just need to hem the skirt. I just simply folded the bottom of the skirt twice and did a straight stitch. And that's it, we are done with the dress. And here is the finished dress. You can also use this faux smocking hack if you cannot be bothered with a zipper on your next make. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so I can continue to film my makes. I have a goal this year to make all of my clothes using free sewing patterns. I look forward to share those makes with you, so expect more to come. I hope this video helped you gain the confidence to make your own clothes. I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. Have the best rest of your day, guys, and remember to love yourself. See you next week. Bye!